Welcome, everyone, to Osceola Debates 2018. My name is Rob Rosen. I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones. Today, I will be your moderator for these debates. Osceola Debates 2018 would like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, Kissimmee Utility Authority, Access Osceola, Orlando Magic, Troy University, and El Osceola Star newspaper. We'd like to give a special thank you to the City of Kissimmee for allowing us to use their chamber. First, our next debate is for County Commissioner, District 4. First, I'd like to introduce to you our panelists. First, we have Paula Machado from Spectrum News 13 reporter. Xavier Velasquez, reporter, NBC Telemundo. And Jenna Threadgill, publisher, Osceola Women. As far as our candidates, we have Cheryl Grieb and Adam Michelin. So the way the debate will work is each candidate will have a 1-minute opening statement. Each panelist will ask one question, and the candidates will have 1 minute to answer each question. After each of the panelists have asked their question and all candidates have answered, the candidates will have a 30-second closing statement. We do use a Christmas tree here, traffic light system, Christmas tree. Green means more than 30 seconds. Yellow means less than 30 seconds. Red means you're out of time. Please, at that point, finish your thought. So we will begin with our opening statements. Mr. Michelin.
My name is Adam Michelin. I'm running for Osceola County District 4. If you are frustrated with the current leadership and botched planning, such as Neptune Road, overdevelopment, overtaxation and fees, spending, for example, $122 million on Neo City and no business plan. Our budget is $1.2 billion, and no one currently on a commission has the experience managing such a large corporation. If you do not believe me, then watch a commission meeting. They spend relatively few hours on passing a $1.2 billion budget, but debate for hours on bike paths and one-stop homeless funding. I have successfully managed billion-dollar companies and have turned around mismanaged companies, just what we need here in Osceola. I'm married 28 years, 4 children live on Lake Tahoe. I'm a Navy vet, 60 to 67. I hunt and scuba dive for relaxation. Thank you.
Thank you. Opening statement, Cheryl Grieb.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Cheryl Grieb, and I'm honored to be your County Commissioner for District 4 currently. I am no stranger to Osceola County. My family moved here when I was just actually the end of first grade. My father was a police officer in New Jersey. He suddenly passed away of a massive heart attack, leaving my mom with 4 young kids to raise. She saw opportunity in Florida, moved each of us here, all of us here, and then we actually lived in Point Siena, and we lived in Point Siena because it was the cheapest place to live, quite frankly. You know, I lived on free lunches, hand-me-downs, bowl haircuts. No one even knew I was a girl till I think I was in high school. But again, dedicated to the community. It has my heart, it has my passion. I hope to serve you for another 4 years. Well, we've made a lot of strides since 2014. We still have a lot to do, and I hope to prove that to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question will come from Paula Machado, and we will start with Ms. Grieb.
In your eyes, what is the biggest problem within the city of Kissimmee, and what would you do to solve it?
You mean the county or the city specifically?
The city specifically.
Well, while I don't have jurisdiction over the city of Kissimmee, I can talk broader as far as the county. In the county, our fast-growing pace right now, and it's difficult to keep up with infrastructure because of the fast-growing pace. And we receive funds from developers, which, by the way, we raise the fees, the mobility fees, so then that way the developers are paying their fair share of what it costs to actually build a road, but those come at the end, typically, of the development, and so and the amount of time it takes to build a road, it makes it very difficult, and this has gone on for years. Prior to my being elected, impact fees, mobility fees, they cut out totally, so we're having to pay for the sins of the past as well, and then try to keep up with current growth that we have.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Michelin?
Well, if you're talking about Kissimmee City, it's the blight, the hobos, the homeless. It lends a bad scene when you pull into the city. I have people coming from out of state visiting me here, and I take them downtown for dinner, and they're surprised that Kissimmee has a good reputation, and I guess celebration in that part of the city, but we need to clean up this downtown area here. Cheryl talks about the mobility fee. The problem with the fee is one size does not fit all. What we need to do is look at the impact these developments have on the community and set their mobility fees accordingly. Okay, just having it per room or per house or square footage is not adequate enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question will come from Xavier Velasquez, and we will start with Mr. Michelin.
Thank you. Can you explain me a little bit more about the homeless population? We have a growing homeless population here in our county, but painfully, there is not enough effort to build a facility to help them. They need to go to Orange County. And there is a topic that I have been reporting for the last 15 years with promises, but no answers.
Right. Well, what's interesting is Peggy introduced a one-stop homeless center, and she was looking for crumbs, to be a matter of fact, to get this thing started. And where the council will spend $122 million on Neo City and won't give Peggy, a few $1,000s to get that thing rolling, just doesn't make any sense. Let's find out how many homeless we have, where are they from, where are they coming from, and what their needs are. I mean, it really doesn't take a big rocket science scope to do that, and it distresses me that the commission did not pass that in support of Peggy. So, thank you.
Thank you. Same question, Ms. Grieb.
Sure. I mean, homelessness is a very complex situation. And you effectively have, I'll put them more in two groups. You have your chronic homeless, which are the ones that live in the woods and the tents. Most of those have mental illness and also substance abuse issues. I'm currently working with Park Place on a facility that would have the wraparound services needed in order to assist those that we have that are living in the woods and in tents and such. Then our larger population, our much bigger issue, is the families in the hotels. And we know several thousand children still that are living in hotels and going to school from that hotel. And so we have been concentrating on housing for them. You can't solve homelessness unless you have housing. We put money into Cameron Preserve, currently working with Habitat of Orlando on additional projects. We put $1 million aside as a county to help fund for new developments that, again, will help with homelessness. So we are attacking that problem, but it's a huge problem, and it's going to take the entire county to solve it.
Thank you. Our next question will come from Jenna Threadgill, and we'll start with Ms. Grieb.
Good afternoon. If you are reelected, well, for in your case, I'm sorry, reelected, what would be the number one thing you would want to accomplish during your term?
Well, I've already started on that, and that was already mentioned earlier, which is Neptune Road is one of my big items. I lived on Neptune Road 13 years ago when I got the letter in the mail that it was going to be widened. And finally, last month, we released the PD&E, which is the Planning, Development, Environmental Studies for that widening now. So to make sure that that actually comes to fruition. That is a huge issue because it's a connection between Kissimmee and St. Cloud, and it's one of those traffic issues that we talked about. Of course, there's many other things, environmental issues as well, that are important to me and important to our community. But I would have to say that's the one item that I want to make sure that I follow through on.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Michelin.
Yeah, it astonishes me that the extension of Neptune Road was completed 5 years ago, and there was a whole ton of things that could have been done on Neptune Road to mitigate the traffic. Here they have 3 brand new developments dumping into Neptune Road, and they delayed the development of that project for 5 years. We're 5 years behind our road construction and improvement here in the county. The county is sitting on $91 million of reserves that don't make any sense. We need to get our roads cleaned up and catch up, because if we wait another 5 years, we're going to be 15 years behind. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question will come from Paula Machado, and we will start with Mr. Michelin.
Health and tech industries are booming right now, and Osceola County has been trying to bring some over here. However, we see a lot of them staying in Orlando. What would you do to bring those high-tech industries or companies to Osceola County?
Well, the problem we have in Osceola County is one, our transportation, our infrastructure. Neo City was throwing stuff at the wall and see if it'll stick. It's like, the Field of Dreams. They spent $122 million, and they have 2 tenants whose rent is being subsidized. That's not the way to go. What could have been done with Neo City, along with University of Central Florida, is to create a campus there. That's what SUNY in upstate New York did, and that's exactly what University of Texas did at Austin. So we went about this the wrong way. What we need to do is clean up basics in the county, change our zoning so we have different sorry.
Thank you. Same question, Ms. Grieb.
Actually, it is Neo City for me. Neo City is a long-term investment that the county has put quite a bit of money into. Part of it is in infrastructure that we need to do anyway, such as a pond that's going to help clean the lakes, the water going to Lake Toho. But beyond that, again, we mainly have our tourism on the east and on the west and ag on the east. So if you don't make these changes in our infrastructure, which is diversifying our economy, it's never going to change. So I believe 100%. And SUNY actually is one of our partners. We have a memorandum of understanding with them. Austin and Albany, that's exactly the same that we are looking to mimic that they've already done in Austin and Albany. And if you look at the same time frames, we're lined up perfectly. It will make a huge difference in Osceola County, and we'll be able to attract those jobs.
Thank you. Our next question will come from Xavier Velasquez, and we'll start with Ms. Grieb.
Thank you. Let's talk about safety and security here in our county. In a recent interview with the sheriff office, Sheriff Gibson was telling me that he needs more officers. They really are trying to hire more, and they were preparing a presentation for the county commissioners to have really more money in their budget because they are in need. And this is really crucial because we have the students that we start just the classes. So what is your opinion about security, safety, and the resources that the sheriff needs?
Sure. Of course, security is number one for Osceola County. We need to make sure that our public is safe. And we work side by side with the sheriff. I actually sat down with he and his attorney and also his finance director and went through their budget items. They are receiving much more money than they received last year. But of course, we also have the unfunded mandates of the school resource officers that no one planned for in their budget. So it took a hit. And of course, we just approve the overall dollars that are given to the sheriff. He decides what happens with them, with those dollars, whether he hires officers or does other things with it. But I know that's something he's concentrating on. My nephew's actually one of our deputies here. He's been a deputy for a little over a year, enjoys what he does, but he puts his life on the line every day, and that's why it's important that we do support the sheriff and his budget.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Michelin.
Yeah, the interesting thing is last year they gave the sheriff $7 million increase in his budget. And part of that was to hire 100 new officers. The problem is he hasn't done it. So this year he gets another $3 million. And for what? The point is either he's going to be able to hire these officers or he's not. The other problem I have with our security, particularly in our schools, is if you go to St. Cloud and you talk to the police chief and what they've done for schools and armed people entering the school using the phone system, they know instantly if there is an armed person who enters the school system. We don't have that here in Osceola, and it doesn't make any sense why we can't have that. So I would be looking very closely at the law enforcement side of it.
Thank you. Our final question will come from Jenna Threadgill, and we will start with Mr. Michelin.
Okay, this goes with your district on the east side as well as Osceola County as a whole. Osceola County is the largest calf cow operation in the United States of America. How is that important to you, and how do you feel as that's important with Osceola County and supporting our local ranchers?
Yeah, the interesting thing I find is that when you look at the strategic planning for Osceola County, East County was declared an open area. The problem with the East County is, with the development that's going in, is there's not enough water. With the planned development that's going into East Osceola County, they would drain both lakes to use all the fresh water. They don't have enough water. So what does that mean? That means that what we ought to do is use our strategic planning, which makes sense, that the East County remain open so that farmers and ranchers can use the land to graze and have open area.
Thank you. Same question, Ms. Grieb.
I'd be happy to answer that question for you. Osceola County has a long, rich history in ranching. And so having the largest calf cow here in Osceola County, I think is huge for us. It's a multi-million-dollar industry. And while we don't fatten the cows here, we send them out west. I mean, we all need beef, or not all of us, but we need different food sources to survive. And ag is one of our largest industries that we have. So supporting that, and again, because it goes back to part of our heritage as well, I believe it's also important for us to recognize that and embrace it and support it in different ways that we can.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to our 30-second closing statement, and we will start with Ms. Grieb.
Sure. Again, it's been my honor and privilege to serve the citizens of Osceola County for the last 4 years. Prior to that, I was an 8-year city commissioner. I really enjoy what I do. I don't do this because I'm interested in state or federal government. I do it because this is my home. This is where I grew up. This is where I started my business. This is where my family resides. This is where my investments are. I want to continue to make Osceola County a much better county, improve the quality of life in all different areas, help manage growth, affordable housing, protect our environment, public safety, higher wage jobs. So I hope I have that opportunity again. Thank you.
Thank you. Closing statement, Mr. Michelin.
Yes, I'd like to bring my 30 years of business experience to help the county get their arms around the spending. As I indicated earlier, they're sitting on $91 million of reserves or projects that they haven't really planned on. Neo City may have been a good idea, but Austin and SUNY both are hooked into a university, and they started from the PhD level down. We're not doing that here. We started this field of dreams, build it and they will come, and that's just not going to work here. So we need to have a business person come and help the county. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, candidates. Thank you, panelists. Thank you to our sponsors, Kissimmee Utility Authority, Access Osceola, Orlando Magic, Troy University, and El Osceola Star newspaper. Thank you.